live. Today I have the honor of interviewing Kount Fif, a producer, engineer, artist, and owner at Man Bites Dog Records. He has a new album coming out entitled Ascension, dropping July 19th, and it's a banger. It's a special album with amazing featurings and immaculate production. We're going to bring him in and talk to him about the new project, his impressive career, and what he has coming up next. Let's bring him in. Kount Fif, my bro, thank you so much for being on the Cristopolis show.
Man,
It's an honor to have you on here. What a banger of an album that you've got coming out. Talk to us about Ascension dropping July 19th.
yo, first of all, thanks for having me, man. It's an honor to be on. It's an exciting album. You know, it's kind of like a follow-up to my Numero Un album that I released a couple years ago. And, you know, I got to do Android's Dream of Electronic Sheep in between that, which is kind of like a greatest hits. I just felt like I needed to get that out there to just showcase, you know, and just let people know, you know, all the work that I've done. So, yeah, man, this is kind of a follow-up. There's some similar, you know, there's some return features on this one. Copywrite, that's my brother, man. We've
Yeah,
been working together for years. He's a part of the label. You know, we've done a lot for him, man, and he's done a lot for us. So, you know, it's always we always work. We've been working for years.
yeah.
So, like I said, my man A1, he's from VA, you know, No Sleep Records. And then, you know, my man Dewey Benz, I got a couple others that are just, you know, returns. So
Yeah.
it's and then some new artists as well that I haven't worked with. Daniel Son,
Yeah.
from Toronto, who was actually just down here in Richmond, which was dope. I didn't get a chance to go down there and get up with him, but you
Yeah.
know, next time.
Daniel Son's heavy
He,
hitter, man.
he's dope. He's dope. I love his voice.
Yeah.
You know, I just reached out to him to just, you know, get him on the hook and shit for me and the joint with Bless Picasso. I seen, you
Yeah.
know, you did an interview with him as well, so that's the
Yeah.
home team. So yeah, man. So we're excited, man. It's just some final pressing delays. We originally were gonna put it out on last Friday,
Yeah.
and we had to push it back, but it's all good, man. It gives it more time to kind of breathe and put some new singles out, and
Yeah.
you know, let these other ones go. So yeah.
That's dope, man. The album's incredible. I feel privileged that you sent it over. I could listen to the whole thing so I could speak to it knowledgeably. I've heard the singles. The single with Chino XL is amazing. The single with Daniel Son and Bless Picasso, incredibly dope. I want, as best as we can, um, for this to, in a sense, be the definitive interview on this album. I want to ask you some questions because
Sure.
the album is spiritual. It's called Ascension.
Right.
When you go through and I was a philosophy major in school. If you look at my library, it's, not just, even Western ideas of religions. It's Eastern, and I'm very into this.
No
Philosophy
doubt.
major with religious studies focus, right? That was what I studied in school.
Incredible.
And my bro, I'm looking at the back of your album and you're going into concepts that I don't even know about. And I'm like, this brother's deep. This album
Yeah.
means something special to you, right? So let's talk a little bit about what Ascension means and kind of like the idea behind the album, the song titles, and the underlying principle that's kind of like the thread going through the album.
Word up. Okay. Absolutely, man. Let's do it. Yeah,
So
man.
so so for instance, when you look at the song titles and it being called Ascension,
Right.
you flip it back, there's you or somebody,
It's
sitting
me.
like in a
It's me.
lotus position
Yeah.
with the chakras awakening, right? Talk to us about, what Ascension means to you and in relation to the album, right? And the flip of it with the chakras awakening. You've got songs like Kundalini Rising, and then you've got concepts that are other Eastern concepts. We're gonna jump into all of it, but tell us what it means to you.
Um, so I'm just a very spiritual person, man. So I think um my albums have to kind of go in line with like a somewhat of a I don't know, it's got to be kind of like a, you know, a follow through with each one, rather, you know what I mean? Like each one is kind of playing off the other. I've always wanted to create like a body of work that was somewhat kind of, each one is kind of relative versus each one being so different. Although I am, because I do consider myself a very versatile producer, and I think that's a lot with what Ascension is because there's a lot of new music that I'm going to be doing and a lot of new things that I'm going to be venturing into that are not necessarily the kind of things that I've been doing. It's me all the way and always. And I've been doing a lot of different music the whole time. I just display and put out what I think works for what I've been doing to kind of stay consistent as far as still being a versatile producer. So, I think the spiritual ideas is just something that has always been a big deal to me. Like I'm a big influence, or I'm influenced heavily by like Parliament Funkadelic, like
Yeah.
jazz, free jazz, like soul music, Marvin Gaye, Al Green, Curtis Mayfield, things like Isaac Hayes, like
Hmm.
these type of artists that were impactful to the culture, and just put out incredible body of work. So and that's kind of what I wanted to always fall in line with. And I mean, I get it. You get a lot of artists that are heavily influenced by these same artists, but there's just, Wu-Tang, obviously, I've worked with a lot of those guys and, have personal relationships and dealt with them in the past. But I think branching out and working with new artists, I think, um, and then just kind of just keep climbing. So that's the Ascension is just
I,
rising to a
I,
new plateau of creation and continuing to kind of just increase the knowledge of self and spirituality. Even though it exists already, you never stop learning, right? It's
yeah.
like we're always trying to reach that nirvana state where, that's what we strive for. So
Yeah.
it kind of sums it up.
Yeah, no,
I
that's
hope.
beautiful. So it has like a dual meaning. Ascension is in your career, you've worked with some of the greatest names in hip hop history now because you've got legends
Yeah,
like Sean Price and Nas, who's kind of like when you ask all the great MCs, like, who influenced you? It's like Nas and Rakim, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you've worked literally with the fabric of hip hop
for sure.
plus spitters, right? Copywrite,
Right.
Chino
Right.
XL. We were talking about Bless Picasso, Daniel Son. You're not just going for the famous names, you're going for the skill sets, the vocal
Yes.
tonality, the
Always.
uniqueness of it, right?
Always.
So you're well versed as a producer in the ear of what hip hop
Respect.
is, right?
Respect.
But now you're saying your career is growing and you're going to be ascending into other other genres.
Possibly. I mean, I'm working on a soul blues record with an artist.
Oh,
I've got some instrumental stuff I'm going to continue to do. I mean, I'm always going to be hip hop. I love hip hop.
yeah,
I'm always going to continue to make it, but I do want to do some more. I've always been kind of in the dark realm of underground hip hop and the heavy,
yeah,
heavy hardcore style of music, which I love, and it's hard for me to get away from, to be honest. But I
yeah,
mean, I want to venture into more approachable music.
yeah,
Not necessarily, I just I'm from VA, man. I'm from Pharrell and Timberland.
yeah.
Like even though that's
South,
757, and I'm in Northern
yeah,
Virginia, it's a different place, but still it's Virginia. Like I'm right near DC, so Marvin Gaye. I mean, there's just so much talent in this area where I grew up.
yeah,
So and then being just such a fan of New York as a city from
yeah,
birth, you know what I mean? I've never lived there, so it's a great place to visit. I love
yeah.
that
The
city, you know what I mean?
birthplace of hip hop.
And exactly, and there's a lot of reasons to be fascinated by that city, and always have been. We kind of talked about that and explained that on the record I did with Uncommon NASA,
Yeah,
City of School, so in 2019. But yes, I think it's important to me to continue to push this agenda and just keep moving forward with different types of types of music, man,
Yeah,
because I'm versatile. I need to show more than what I'm doing now is how I feel. You know, you always want to
yeah,
grow. You know, I mean, look at artists like Little Yachty, or even like back in the day, you would say something like Little Wayne. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like from where he started to where he went. You know, you had Master Ace talking about he'd rather hear a Little Wayne, Little Zane duet, and then the dude is monumentally influential. So it's
yeah,
like, you know, whether he writes verses or not, you know what I
yeah,
mean? And that's a whole nother thing. I'm true to the art form
yeah,
in all aspects. I used to be an
yeah.
MC. That's how I started, you know, or I used to write. I used to be a writer. I used to be a rapper. You know, and that's kind of how I started. I've always been a musician. I've been playing music since I was very young. So I think just always continuing to push the bar and challenge myself and grow as an artist.
That's good, man. That's good. Yeah, the I love music and you know I listen to all types of music, but I'm a hip hop head through and through. But I battle uh for Spotify in my own household with my daughters
Yeah.
and my wife. Like
Yeah.
I've got an Amazon Music account and like the Spotify account, and I don't have access. That's why you need physical copies, you know?
I know, man. It's
Right.
important. That's important. I mean, I know I have the same issue with my kids, man. They're always taking up my son. He loves the music, which is great because we be making beats and he's got his own beats and you know,
That's
it's
awesome.
I've been you know, yeah. So I mean, it's incredible you know that that to have your children and family involved with the music. So that's still beautiful.
It's
But yeah, I
beautiful.
get it.
And
Yeah.
they open me up to other music, right?
Absolutely.
And it's really cool because there's so much out there right now, and you're such a talented producer and engineer and businessman, right?
Respect.
The rollouts, the strategies, the knowledge of how it works, how
Right.
the car works under the hood. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
I think that those skill sets will do well in all aspects of music. You see people like Rick Rubin, right?
Right. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you
Major
know, like
influence.
started out grimy underground hip hop, that whole Def Jam sound from the beginning, right? And
Def
now he's
America.
working
I
with
mean,
everybody wants to work with
I
him.
was gonna say, yeah. I mean, I mean, just to be where he's at now and as respected
Yeah,
as he is, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely, yeah. I mean, he's like artists like that, like Prince Paul, you know, RZA, Premier,
yeah,
Jay Dilla, Pete Rock. All those guys are kind of, you know, as producers. Quincy Jones,
yeah,
as you know, one of my major influences growing up, finding so many records. They're just like, oh my God, this was Quincy. This was Quincy. You know, shit like
yeah.
that. So.
That's really, really dope. So talking about Ascension, I had to ask because I couldn't remember all the names. I needed to write them down because you know I could remember things like Kundalini Rising,
Right, right.
Ascension, Secular, like those. But then you had titles like the Hashira, which is the single with Chino XL. What does Hashira mean?
So it's the Demon Slayer. So it's basically I believe there's an actual um, Japanese anime like cartoon based on it, but like separate from that alone is what it basically means is just Demon Slayer. And I mean these guys are both lyrical tongue, you know, like their tongue is sharp, you know what I mean? Like and you know putting them together on a song it's just punchline and just selling, you know, it's just crazy, you know what I mean? So it's been meaning to it happen for a long time and it just worked out this way. Me being kind of the middleman making it happen and just you know working with Chino. I did a show, brought Chino down for my album release for the to do Android's Dream, and it was you know it was a dope thing. It was you know we built a relationship, so you know we decided to actually do this joint and figured you know might as well do it with copy and just make this happen and just seal that, you know what I
So
mean?
dope,
So
man.
and that's just basically what it is, man. So these dudes are just and that's like it's like the Sean Price you know scratch that my man DJ Hopper do was you know taken from Never Ending, the song I
Yeah,
did with Rock and Ruck. But yeah, so it was perfect because it's like he's you know we you know we both rap tough, we ain't spitting the same shit, and obviously you hear the verses, Chino's cadence and delivery switches up many times
yeah,
throughout his verse and copy, you know, keeps it copyright and keeps it basic, but I mean he's
He's so
never not,
dope.
he's never off point. He's always on
No,
point.
he doesn't have to do anything else.
I mean, I used to record a lot of his feature verses for like unknown artists and stuff back in the day, and
Yeah,
I mean, even those verses were still it's just like, man, do you know how to write a whack verse? You just like you can't like you never have a bad day with the pen. Like he's
yeah,
just always on point. So
that's so dope.
yeah, man.
They both on the song the Hashira. I mean, that's where that MC competitiveness, you
Right,
know, Chino being like, I'm not gonna let copy outshine me, and copyright being like, I'm not gonna let Chino outshine me, because they both
pretty
came
much.
correct.
Pretty
Chino's
much.
verse is so insane. He
It's
put so much
ridiculous. I
love
mean,
into that.
he did, man. We talked about it several times, and like he spent a lot of time in that. He loved that beat. He was super excited about it the whole way through.
The
So, and
beat's
he
nuts.
kills it, man. Like he said he even put some lines in there that he's been holding off putting on putting in verses for a while. So
Yeah,
like he blessed me, man. It was a good verse, and then copy came with it, man. He did his thing, and I think the placement of the verses works just the way, you know what I mean? Like Chino sets it off and just goes crazy, and copy just kind of comes through after and just does his thing and kills it as well. It's like, but that's definitely the competitive nature too. Like Chino's like,
this is going on Fifth's album. I know he's gonna
yeah,
push the album.
yeah,
He knows
man,
people. This is going places. I'm going to lace the beats fire.
respect.
The beats fire. It really is. I was looking for video content, for this interview,
Right.
and I found that short movie with you running, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put it on this. I was being
Yeah.
I was being Quentin
You was killing
Tarantino
it.
with
You
using your
killed it.
stuff.
Right. Nah, it was perfect, man. Like, yeah, that was a fun that run video was a lot of fun too. We like to do different things for visuals, man. We're trying to, you know, we really appreciate movies and just doing something different than just regular rap videos, like my partner Brian Armel, he's a video guy. He went to school for music, for move, for directing and learning about how to put a film together. And he's done several films
Wow.
and hundreds of videos at this point. So yeah, man, it's like we want to be getting creative all the time. And
Yeah.
art is, the art is important, man. It's not just something to take lightly or to do just because we've been doing this for a long time. So
Yeah. No, in the album, in the new album Ascension, you can hear the love. You can hear how much time it's taken. It is honestly a no skip album. It is an
thank you,
album
man.
where every single track, to include the instrumental tracks you have on there, where the fifth instrumentals, super fire production.
Appreciate
Um, you
it.
got Chronos with Paul's, which was dope. There's another one, the you're gonna have to help me pronounce it. It's the joint with Daniel's son, the
Dakuwaka.
Dukawaga. What's that
Dakuwaka.
mean?
So that's the shark god, man. That's the shark god. So it's like an ancient. I believe it's. Um, God forgive me, Hawaiian. Like, what's the? I think it's something like Hawaiian, but it's like basically just the meaning of like the shark god. We didn't want to just call the song Sharks
Yeah,
because the sharks in the water, you know what I mean? Like the hook and the kind of the whole concept of it. So we everything we wanted, just like my last, like just like Numero Un, like the whole album was um was in French. So it's like with this one, we just did titles that people are like, "Well, what does that mean?" Well, I've never, you know what I mean? Like, I gotta look that up. I just always want to challenge people and make people think and just, look at different words and different things and different meanings and just not always just do the same thing and just be kind of cliche with it. So
yeah,
I just, I like to get artsy with it, man. To be,
absolutely.
you know,
Yeah, yeah, and it is all going together.
yeah,
The Then you've got the theme Ascension. Kundalini rising, Kundalini. You've got the flip side. You know, you've you talked about what ascension meant, like where you're at in your career and musically, right? But then also that you are spiritual and your own inner journey. Can you talk to us about, maybe connected with what you actually like believe, your own operating system? Like, how do you see life? What is that guiding thought or spirituality, and how does that connect into the song titles, right? Like, is it a specific religion? Is it Eastern religion? Is it kind of like a amalgamation of different best ideas
Beliefs.
of yeah,
Yeah.
beliefs? Can you share
Yeah.
with us a little bit what the producer believes and how that worked its way into the project?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just because I'm not necessarily really, tied down to one religion. I believe that, all religions kind of have a lot of the same truths, just
Yeah.
different cultures, different times, different stories. So I think just always kind of tying in what I've always learned and believed along my journey, and
Yeah.
just that just kind of culminates what it is, and then musically, I think that all of that relates, it's frequencies,
Mm.
it's it's all music is spiritual regardless,
Yeah.
however people want to get deep into it or not. I mean, if you really want to chase that dragon or chase that vibe, of getting that kind of feeling like I'm doing it now, is like I was actually when before you're like, oh, it's like another 15 minutes or so. I was like, perfect. I'm like working on this bass line on this beat right now. Like like I'm trying to get it right. I'm like right in the middle of it, you know what I mean? So like chasing that feeling of the satisfaction of just producing, and I mean, I think that's all part of it. I think it all coincides. So it really is just um, a culmination of different religions. Islam, Christianity, Judaism. Even Buddhism, Hinduism, all of them, they all have truths. They all have
Yeah.
things that I think are very important to acknowledge and at least take in consideration. Not that you have to follow these beliefs to the core, but just doing a little bit of research on and reading some of these, some of the books,
Yeah.
just understanding and just knowing that and just we're all one. Like we're one. We're
Yeah.
human people. Like this earth is where we are small. We're very
The
small in this
grain of
universe,
when you
man.
look at the universe, those things
Yeah,
freak me
man. Like
out, man.
we're very unimportant, man. The universe does not care, like So, I think just doing what you love, chasing that like that high, which is again making music. I do it for therapy. I would
Mm.
do it if it wasn't like something I was
Yeah.
continually trying to pursue and push out there for people to hear, and just being excited about. So
That's
I
beautiful.
hope that answers the question, man. Like
That's good, man. You're dropping
yeah,
gems. You're
yeah.
dropping gems. Now, on the back cover, you've got kind of like the chakras awakening. On the front cover, there's one of these like sacred geometry, you
Sephiroth.
know, yeah, what is the image on the
So it's
cover?
the Sephiroth. So if you look it up, man, it's just ties to kind of how energy flows, and it is like again a sacred geometry. So it's just just look up Sephiroth. It's I believe it's Sefirot. And it's usually 11 of the actual like energy balls,
Yeah,
but like it's 14 on the album because I
yeah,
wanted to break, 'cause there's 14 songs on the record, so I wanted to kind of, signify each song by doing that, and just wanted something simple. Actually, we kind of, we went back and forth on the art, man. I almost was gonna do the back cover, like it was gonna have a
yeah,
reverse, like the back was gonna be the front was gonna be the back, and I was like, we talked about it, and we was like, it ends up working out better the way we did it.
yeah,
So I think
yeah,
it's and it's similar, and it kind of again. it's in space, so it's like I feel like it's a part two,
Okay.
a play off of numero un, So, like I said, I got a lot of the same features on it, and then some new features added on that I haven't worked with. And it's not always about having the biggest name. It really does, like you said before, it really does boil down to talent and like skill and
Yeah.
like what works on the beat, like what, and just voice, vocal tone, all of that. So
Yeah.
I think it's important to work with these guys, especially being local and home team guys, that I respect and I appreciate. So we're gonna continue to work, but like, yeah,
That's dope, man. It's like you had it's such a dope album. We've got like the two instrumentals, and then you got secular, right? The kind of
right,
like changes up the energy. Secular is such a
exactly,
hard track.
yeah,
It goes
man,
so hard, and it
respect,
changes the whole because you're like dope hip hop, amazing lyrical, and then secular comes in and it's like time out. We still grimy over here.
yeah,
Dope.
man, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like it's hard for me to I don't know. Like I have to display the certain, ups and downs. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like not everything is gonna be is gonna flow into each other perfect. Like on some like this the same vibe. It's like sometimes you just gotta switch it up, especially like when you're changing up the side or
Yeah.
whatever. Like start of something new, you gotta change the energy, man. So I
Totally.
definitely believe in moving the energy around and keeping it interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dope, man. If you could share with us a little bit, as a accomplished producer and engineer, share with us a little bit about what you actually use, what equipment you use,
Sure.
like what DAW are you using, what are you producing off of?
So I used to be a big MPC 2000 XL guy.
Yeah,
That was kind of my machine for a long time. Um, I think around 2012, 2013, 14, somewhere around there. Um, I switched up to the machine by Native Instruments,
yeah,
and I've been on that heavy. Like I love the workflow. It just makes sense for me personally.
yeah,
I haven't had to change up much. I have a lot of plugins, um, and then I use Pro Tools to record and mix down on. So those are the main things I do. I mean, I have sources of instruments, like I said, plugins and stuff like that
yeah,
that I use, VSTs and things of the nature. I still rock vinyl every once in a while. I still sample here and there, but I'm really, again, I think Ascension also, like with this album, is more sample free
yeah,
stuff, royalty free material. Um, so I think that's kind of big, because I've always been a very heavy sample based guy, even though
yeah,
throughout the career, I've still always produced things that were sample free. Like I've always, like, for every 5 or 6 sample joints, I'd have, 2 or 3, me playing everything out, or, royalty free, whatever you want to call it.
yeah,
So, yeah. So I think, yeah, I mean, the big part of it is, again, transitioning to the more royalty free stuff and not sampling as much.
yeah.
But
Not getting sued.
yeah, which we've been, for Killah Priest album, we got sued for a drum loop, which I chopped still, and it's still got
Yeah,
algorithms are crazy now for these record
yeah.
labels to find things. Be
They go
careful
and
out there,
find it.
producers. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. The in your just musical background, were you classically trained on any instrument? Did you have like an instrument that you did, like a lot of, like my daughter plays piano, for
Sure.
instance, right? And she turned into going into DJing and then discovering, machine and getting into producing. That'd be kind of like how she got to it, was she learned it on the piano. Did you have any
Right.
classical training? Did you play guitar, piano, drums, anything?
Drums. I had drums from the very, my dad was a musician. He played bass. He was around a band. They used to practice out in my garage where I grew up.
Wow.
So they had like a live they had a stage and everything, like kind of like a live venue in the garage, and we had drum set up. And I was always fascinated by the drums, and just drew to them immediately. So I learned how to play, like, and I just kind of naturally had the talent to just kind of find the beat, right?
Yeah.
So I think that helped. I did a little bit of piano, but and music theory.
Yeah.
But man, I play by ear.
Yeah.
And then again, like I'm constantly trying to force myself to practice to keep with actual music theory.
Yeah.
And I do it pretty often. I mean, I know the keys. I don't. I mean, and I know what I hear by ear, but like I may not know what key I'm in right away. I mean, I know I love the key of minor. If any key in minor.
That's that
So I
emotion
mean, like,
right
if
there.
you listen to a lot of my production, and it's funny because there's apps and stuff out there that it can read, and you can do all that kind of stuff. So there's things I may look up or try to search to be like, what key is this in, or figure it out. And man, you go back and it's just like a lot of what I do is in the key of minor.
Wow.
So I think that's something that I'm continuing to try to grow upon. It's just music theory and just again playing stuff out and more instrumentation versus sampling. Which I still sample. I always will sample, like even for the love. Like I like freaking stuff that's popular, or like like a popular song that I loved or something, and kind of freak it in a different way, in a hip
Yeah.
hop fashion. So I mean, I have like a whole slew of beats that would get sued
Yeah.
a lot
They're,
of, you know
they're,
what I mean?
they're dope as shit, but you can't release them.
I'm gonna put them out for free. I don't even
Yeah.
care. Like I've got a whole album called it's called Trapped in the 90s, and
Oh.
it's all boom bap 90s songs turned into trap beats.
Oh,
So
that's dope.
like, I mean, Capone Noriega, Tribe Called Quest, Wu-Tang, Gangstar. Think of that level. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's all just trapped out. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
a lot of fun.
and then I've just been doing that kind of recently a lot. Like, I just, again, versatile. Just expanding my styles, and just not always sticking. I mean, look at Ninth Wonder. They used to criticize him for always using the same drum sounds, right? You
Yeah.
know, and look at him now. If you go back and listen to a lot of his most recent work, he doesn't use the same snare. He's not using those same like you know
Yep.
drum kits. He's switched it up. People got to evolve. Another artist I always like to compare myself to is like, well, not compare myself to, but I like to say I'm influenced by, because of the versatility, is like David Bowie. I mean,
Yeah.
listen to every one of David Bowie's albums. He's got different songs, different styles of music. Billy Joel, same type of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy is doo-wop to soul to jazz, to rock. So I mean, like those are kind of like I said before, Prince Paul, just a big influence. Just
Yeah.
always just doing new things and just keeping it funky, man.
Yeah. That's dope. Like I love those artists too. There was this kind of like Billy Joel greatest hits album I used to have. It was like a two disc CD, and
Yeah.
it took you from the beginning of his career. And it was a really dope. The way the record label did it was it broke out the years,
Oh, sick.
so it kind of took you through all the years, and it had maybe like two, three big hits. Some albums had more,
Yeah.
but his whole, this is back when they used to have records. He had such a
Right.
variety
Oh, it's
of
ridiculous.
music.
It's
Yeah,
ridiculous. In the '70s, man, like a lot of that music was released in the '70s, and I'm a huge '70s guy. Like,
yeah,
late '60s, '70s to '80s, man.
yeah.
Those were the years for music to me, man.
They were
So,
doing real
yeah,
A&R back then.
back.
Yeah, like
Big
really
facts.
developing artists, taking
Oh
them on a
yeah.
journey. Yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh
yep.
yeah. I mean, you see the things that Prince and Quincy and you know tons of artists did back then. You know what I mean? Like Gamble and Huff. Like just all these diverse artists out there, and again, like you said, just the artist development was big back then. You know, it's real.
Yeah, yeah. That's a great segue. Artist development, producer, engineer, Man Bites Dog Records. Can you talk to us a little bit about the record label, how it came to be, you know, how you developed it, and some of the artists that you are currently working with and that you've worked with in the past?
Yeah, man. So, so my partner RML, he's the owner, the starter, you know, main founder of the record label. Um, he had been building artists for a couple of years, I think around 2003, 2004. And then I went to a show, I met him, and he was promoting for other shows, and we just built, man, and we both went to Full Sail University. Like I said, he went for film, I went for recording.
That's dope.
So we connected on that level, and then you know, it wasn't long after that, man. Just me showing and proving, which is how serious I was, and he, invest in time and energy and put up the opportunities to do things. And I'm like, I'm right here. You know what I mean? This is what I've always been looking for is something like this. So it was a beautiful, beautiful thing because, you know, I had the skill of production and engineering. And even though I was still kind of a novice at that point, you know, I always felt like my year was ahead of its
Yeah,
time. It always been, you know, on point. So I think us collaborating, and then it just happened to he offered me an opportunity to become a co-owner, so I have a percentage, and it's I think that part of the business has always been the most um, unexciting thing. You know what I mean? Like the business side, nobody wants to package 150 albums and ship them out and take them to the post
take it to
office.
the post office,
People
write
don't
down
think about all the
addresses,
things that you have to do as a business. You know what I mean? Like upload your music,
all the
digitally through
data, putting all
the
the data
data,
in.
and just keeping track of everything and hard drives and just studio sessions and just it's I wear a lot of hats, man. So
Yeah,
it can get challenging, or it can take away from the creative side.
yeah.
I always have to
Vinyl duplication that gets the date late.
yeah, man. Like for real. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, it's again like there's part of it where you the business side of it. You just like I don't want to do any more music today. Like it just ruined my vibe. Like so,
Yeah,
it just it just really it's important to me to stay kind of creative constantly. You know what I mean? Like and kind of keep myself out of the business aspect as much as
yeah,
possible. Because again, like I said, it's in this underground hip hop, man. It's as many artists I've worked with, or the things that I've done, and the accolades that I've achieved. It just it's still you're still a starving artist, man. It's still a
yeah,
struggling, still a
yeah.
struggle.
It's still a grind.
It's still a battle. It's
Yeah.
still a grind. Yeah. So
But that's the beauty. That's why we love it too, right? Like you
two,
love
yeah,
these artists
true.
because you hear that hunger in their voice because it's it's not Taylor Swift. You
Right,
know what I'm
right.
saying? It's not
It's
that.
the music. Like I said, the music is important, man. The frequencies, the vibes, the content, the message, the substance is important.
Yeah,
So it's life to me, man. Like again, like there's not a lot of things that I put before music. I mean, obviously, you know, I I
yeah,
it's that's how
yeah,
important it is, man.
yeah.
It's life. It's constantly
Yeah.
going.
That's
So
beautiful, man. It's what you're here. It's what you're
it's
here
what
on
I'm
earth.
here to do, man. And absolutely, brother.
That's
Absolutely.
good.
That's my
Yeah.
purpose for sure.
And in the description of "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep," it tells that story a little bit. This started outside of I think it was 930 Club or one of the
Yeah,
clubs in
man.
DC,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
RML was it RML
Yep.
passing out flyers, right? And then that's where it starts. Can you tell us that story? And I think the
Yeah.
GZA's involved.
Yeah.
The Wu-Tang Clan makes
Always.
a featuring in this story.
We're fans, man. So like, yeah, I mean, um, there was a Jizza and Buckshot show at the
Wow.
930 Club, and this was like right when they started doing early shows because they would book two shows in one night at 930. 930 was becoming more of an independent um, music scene venue. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It was less bigger artists were coming through, but they were still doing things like Jizza and Buckshot on tour. Um, so there was I don't know, again, their bus broke down. There was like I don't know what happened. We showed up late, thinking we were missing all the opening acts or whatever. We just gonna just go in and see Buck and Jizza, and
Yeah.
that was it. Well, we showed up so late that we missed that we missed the whole
That
show.
happened to me before at 9:30, which is
And
common. Yeah.
Ryan was out there passing out the flyers, man, for his show that he was doing, the Best Damn Rap Tour for Vast Air, the album he did with Mighty My, and they were doing a tour for it, and it was a lot of people involved on the tour, a lot of the Def Jux guys, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like in the underground guys that were part of that whole movement, were a part of that whole tour. So he invited, I saw the flyer. I was supposed to go to New York, I think that weekend, and instead I ended up going to the show. And me and my man Impulse had been working on music, and I gave him a CD and said, "Hey man, because I seen he had some local guys opening
Yeah.
up and stuff." I'm like, "Well, these guys are no better than than,
And
than
us,
you know than,
right.
than us, man." I was like, "What gives? Let's like let me holler at the promoter and see what we can do." And passed him along with some information. Actually, I think it was that show. I got I got his information. The next show was like a Capadonna, Inspector Deck, Planet Asia, Afu Rav show, and it was incredible. We've been doing, and he was booking them out here in Springfield, Virginia, which is a little suburb outside of DC.
Yeah. Was
But
it at the Jacks?
yeah, Jax. Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jax. So, yeah, that nightclub was a metal venue, but they used to do underground hip hop. It's just like underground hip hop's always. It's like we love punk rock. It's like punk rock shit.
Yeah.
It's rebellious.
Hip hop
Everything
and
is
punk rock
co-
have a parallel.
have a
It's
very
that
similar.
DIY, do it yourself. We're not gonna wait for you. We'll burn the CDs. We'll
We
do the
don't need the
flyer.
key will break it type shit, bro. Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, and I've always been a fan of punk rock too. So like, that was awesome that we were part of that venue, and we made history there. Making putting on great shows. And we did a Hurricane Katrina benefit. We brought down Necro and Remedy and Pac FM. Mecca, my man Mecca, who is a part of the Expert Opinion podcast, who's done amazing things. He's close to Busta Rhymes and does all that stuff. So we've been around for a long time, man, and just continuing just trying to make our stamp, bro. And I feel like I haven't put out enough music, like in my like there was a very long break and like of hiatus of actually just really pushing to put the music out.
Yeah.
And so I've got so much music, man. I just want to keep putting it out and just keep releasing and keep sending the new different types of music,
That's
man. It's always gonna
good.
be a hip hop influence, but like, there's there's hints of R&B and soul and pop and
Yeah. Yeah.
just more approachable dancing, more dance, even like dance type of music, man. Straight
Yeah.
up, like I said, Timberland, Pharrell. I love those guys. Teddy Riley. I met Teddy Riley
Yeah.
one day, at King's Dominion out here. So like, I've always been an influence of these guys,
That's
man.
beautiful. Yeah, the think about cats like Anderson .Paak right now.
Oh my
He
God, I
he's like
love
in
him.
3, 4 different genres at the same time all the time.
That's what I'm saying. Like again, and he's another major influence. Like again, like the Parliament, like Childish Gambino, like
Yeah.
these artists, Cleo Soul, like there's so much good music, man. There's so many great talents that I'm influenced by, and the
Yeah.
kind of vibe that I want to go towards. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
always like even back then, when Alicia Keys and CeeLo, like Gnarls Barkley and things
Yeah.
were popping. It was like, oh man, like this is the kind of shit I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, it's just I just want to do, Raphael Sadiq, these type of
Yeah.
artists, man. My dogs be wilding
That's
out, man. Apologize
good.
for all the noise.
I got mine in here. Mine are chill, but I got them in
That's
here
what's
too.
up.
Yeah,
That's
I got
what's
two
up.
huskies, and I'm surprised that they
They're
behave.
chilling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they chill. They chill during the show. They do. Just feed
yeah,
them. They'll be good.
yeah, yeah. I got a shepherd, man. He's an Australian cattle dog, and he's a puppy. He's only 6 months old. So
That's awesome.
and then I got a bulldog. So they're like two peas in a pod, and they're wild together, man. So
That's beautiful. That's dope. So,
yeah,
you've got Ascension dropping July 19th, but we're talking about how much music you've got, stuff you can release, and stuff that's, because of royalties and samples and stuff. I know we're about to go into the whole release of Ascension
yeah,
dropping July 19th.
yes, sir.
Are you thinking of having more music drop in 2024 that's Kount Fif, not because you're working with other people,
Yeah,
production, engineering.
yep,
Are you thinking about doing something else?
yeah,
What comes
yeah.
after
There's
Ascension? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like these other
there's
genres, these other sonic sounds. What are your thoughts with that? Because I know you got a hard drive full of music.
Yeah, bro, I got crazy. It's crazy the amount of work I've been able to get done in the past couple months, man. I've had the opportunity to really kind of be at home and focus on work, and so it's like um, I've got a lot of new music, man, that I want to release, and yes, I think there's definitely going to be some new music that's coming out. This year. I think there's some things that I'm a part of that I won't mention yet or talk about that are coming that are going to be kind of a surprise and kind of be anonymous. So you may not, I'm hoping that it'll make some traction. It's kind of starting from scratch because of that anonymity. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
like that, I think it's going to be very interesting, man. We got some like I said, man, it's just very very approachable music. Very, at the same time, it's still very relevant and modern, and um, it's so edgy
yeah.
too. You know what I mean? Like everything I do it's always gonna have an edge to it.
Oh,
I
the
feel,
drums.
you
I
know.
know
Oh,
that. I know no matter what we do, no matter what genre you're going to, those drums are gonna knock.
facts, man. That's important. Again, like being a drummer and being kind of that's like the the body of what I do.
Yeah,
Like because I can play keys, I can play bass. My dad was a bassist. So I have other talents and other instruments, but guitar is one thing I always enlist other people for. Like that's something that I've never really been able to grasp or
yeah,
had the patience to take time to really learn it and be dope
yeah,
at. So it's
yeah,
cool though. Like like you don't have there's not enough time in the world for everything, man. You gotta
yeah.
you gotta you gotta focus on the things that you know that you can do well and you love and
Mm,
you know. Yeah.
that's good. That's
So
good.
yeah, so
You know,
there's a lot of new music coming, bro, this year, man. I think period, and after this year, like I think as far as hip hop goes, before we get to the next thing, I just wanted to seal it with saying that I'm still gonna continue to do hip hop,
yeah,
but I want to start working with artists on a like a so like me and one artist, you know what I mean? Like and
yeah,
do the kind of thing that a lot of producers have done where they work with one artist and whether it find a niche and we continue to do work like
yeah.
a Mercer Ninth Wonder or a Sky Zoo and or like or
Run the jewels.
whoever Run the
Hmm.
Jewels or yeah like these super collabs or rare or like new good chemistry collaborations.
Yeah,
um I think that's what I want to kind of do. I think I'm kind of Ascension is also kind of a part of getting out of doing like compilation producer
Yeah,
records. Like I've done enough, man. Like that's most of the work, the body of work I've put out is very similar to just producer compilation
yeah,
stuff. I want to do more conceptual records with just one record, one artist,
yeah,
and move on to that kind of plane. So
yeah. That's interesting because when you think about Numero Un and you think about the new album Ascension, there is there is a concept. You've got concepts around those
right,
albums, but it hits a level of how granular you could get with the conceptualization
yeah,
because it's so many different styles. There, you probably are finding you're kind of putting together. There's so many pieces to
so
it.
many pieces, man. And it's not,
Yeah,
everything's not going to tie into a
yeah,
story or something. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I'm not telling a complete story. Like things are kind of thrown in, or like, just kind of like random ideas and stuff like that. But that's kind of how I operate. I'm abstract. I don't,
yeah,
unless I sit down and really like a Prince Among Thieves type of record where
yeah,
it's like all concept, one concept, and I tell every artist you have to write you have to write this to
yeah,
this. You know what I mean? Like, which I give artists obviously a platform, or like
right,
I like artists to really feel it for themselves versus me telling them what to do. I want them to hear the music and write what they feel to it. So
yeah,
whatever they come with it, usually the first person that I reach to, or that I decide, oh, this is for them. Like I need to get them on this first. Start there as a base. Um, Whatever they go with is usually how it continues. Like, hey man, play off of the verse, fit the concept, and let's ride with that. And then uh, we'll tie it all together later. You know
yeah.
what I mean? So
That's
it's
dope.
abstract, man.
That's dope. So kind of like the way Madlib has done a bunch of like albums with people, something in that vein where you're working with an artist, whether it winds up
Yes.
being, many albums or just the project, but the ability to sit with somebody that you vibe with, that you respect
Yep.
creatively, and them also respect you, and for y'all to conceptualize something special that you release, and it's like we did this thing.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah. I mean, I did that. Excuse me. I did that with like Killah Priest. I did that with Uncommon NASA. So I have done it before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's important to continue to do it. Like I think we can follow more of a granulated conception versus just like,
Right.
sporadic thoughts and
More like a loose
abstract
loose
energy.
conception.
Yeah. Loose
Yeah,
conceptions. Which is cool. Again, like it's like, at the same time, I like that idea, those loose conception, projects, because like
that's how you
most of
get
what I
Chino
put out is,
XL and copyright on
that's
one
what
song.
I'm saying. Like you know what I mean. You just there's no rules. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
So, and at the same time, you still are following a certain sound and a certain concept, but but yes, furthering into wanting to do more concrete concepts and and records with one artist, and whether we can get in the studio like a Common and Pete
yeah,
Rock, you know what I mean,
yeah,
can nowadays, um, or not. We're gonna, and I've got a couple artists that we have some talks about really putting together some, couple records, or you know albums
yeah,
rather, with me and one artist. So yeah, I've got a couple of people in mind and we talks. So that ball's already kind of getting put in motion again with the hip hop stuff. But like, yeah, man, I'm just excited to venture into new territories altogether and just
yeah. Keep it
continue to
exciting.
keep putting music, man. Yeah, and just keep putting it out. Keep putting out music.
That's dope. Your discography and all the people that you've worked with is impressive, and Man Bites Dog Records is, especially in this underground hip hop, a brand that I hear all the time, in interviewing people, or I come across it in my own research. There's another brand that you're associated with that I want to make sure that we at least cover a little bit, which is Records and Rarities. Can you
Yeah,
talk to us
man.
about your relationship with Records and Rarities and what it is? for folks to know?
Yeah, man. So R&R is a record store. It's a arcade. It's a video game, comic book, clothing, live venue, store in the mall in Springfield, Virginia. Again, a suburb outside of DC. So we've been doing things for a long time as far as pushing that business. Um, we kind of took a break and a hiatus from heavily releasing music for Man Bites Dog to focus on that, and man, you can be on, and we can be honest by saying like it's it's a concept of like something following like what Slug did with Rhyme Sayers and with the Fifth Element that they had in Minnesota. We took it a step further and went with kind of even skateboarding. We had at one point we were a skate shop, comic book, arcade, video game and record
Yeah.
store. So just kind of all the culmination of everything that we grew up on as kids.
Yeah.
And,
That's getting lost.
That's continuing to be a cult thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I know records have been doing well in the past 10 years or so, but there's a slow halt to it.
Yeah.
And it's gone back to kind of being more of a it's to the true ones that really respect it and love it and will never, it's always going to be a part of them versus like young kids buying Crosley turntables
Right.
and
The Crosley turntable at the Target.
getting their favorite, Childish Gambino and Lauryn Hill, Miseducation, just like all the record, the Beatles, and like, you know what I mean? Just like that's kind of the staples records that people think they need to own as far as being a vinyl collector. So like, I think that the store was important, and then we took a break and just kind of focused on that to kind of build a scene, man.
Yeah.
And like we have a show actually coming up June 27th with Exile, Surplus, myself, Grime Lords, Born Unique,
Nothing but
Impulse,
legends
like VA Team Demo, like we all have heavy credentials, man, and all have have serious like we've made serious marks in this game, man.
Yeah.
So like it's an incredible movement that we've been trying to keep pushing for a long time. I used to manage it. I used to be a manager and would bring in DJs, and we would do events on the weekends, and we do something different with that, breaking the rules, like kind of just doing different things versus you never seen a store like this in the mall period is what I'm trying to get at. You know what I mean? Like it's if you're ever in the the VA DC area and you're in Springfield or Springfield Town Center, Records and Rarities. It's awesome. I know there's a lot of cool spots out there in LA like that, you know what I mean? But like, it's something that we try to that we're proud of,
Yeah.
And we're trying to keep the movement going.
That's dope. That's dope. Are you a collector?
There anymore, but I'm always supporting. I'm always representing the store, man. Like it's it's a big part of my life, and it's a part of the record label.
Yeah.
It's our home. It's our home front to be able to like promote and put music in the store for people and local artists and whatever. So
Yeah.
it's I got a lot of stories from it, so it's dope.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's almost like the same way that physical merchandise, vinyl, tapes have made a return. How there's something so special about holding them.
Right.
There's something really special about having a headquarters
Yeah,
where you could throw a
man.
show, where you could have the DJs, where you could have the people come to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man.
Because everything's in our phone now.
That's what I'm saying. And we grew up outside, man. You know what I mean? Like I'm outside now. Like you know what I mean? Like I love it outside. Like I get my kids outside. It's get off the social media sometimes, and you just recharge, man, and just come outside and come out to a live event where you can see it in the flesh, and why it was so important, why this music and everything is to where it is at this level now because of that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it all started in the basement, man. So I think it's always important to kind of keep going back to that, man. Just um, we just want to try to keep pushing a movement out here,
Yeah.
and it's tough. It's a we're in an area where it's very crabs in a barrel, and a lot of people just it's all for self,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of different separate movements, and
Yeah.
it's like that's why we try to bring it all together, man. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I mean, like I said, you look at the lineup, and it's a free show, man. Like people charging $50, $60 for a show like this,
Yeah.
easy. I mean, just for Exile, you know what I mean? He
Yeah.
could charge $20, $30 easy for a show
Yeah.
by himself. So it's a free show where you can get intimate. You can, you know what I mean, meet the artist. You can talk to him. You can ask questions. You can get autographs. It's not, it's not crazy
Yeah.
where it's not some big venue. It's important, man, to do things like this. We brought a lot of legends. Lord Finesse, Diamond D, Master Ace, Marco Polo. We brought Exile to the store before, so
Wow.
because we had multiple locations. It's just something like the store that we have. It really just Springfield was just like our headquarters. It was the best storefront we had because we've had multiple locations and different malls and different settings, but something like that
Springfield
is
was the one.
that, and it's a specialty store, man. It's a unique store, so you can't spread yourself too thin by being all, you
They're
know what I
not
mean? Like you see,
mass-produced items. They're
no,
items that are now curated, and to have it all in one place
yeah,
is
it's hard
important.
to it's hard to keep up with stock, man. Like
Yeah.
hard to keep up trying to find vintage Nintendos and Gen 1 PS3s that were backwards compatible to, you know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
trying to keep up with everything, man. Always have rare stuff when there was already competition in the area that had been here before us, Because again, we're in a very big market, just like LA and New York, man.
Yeah.
It's very rich, and well, the county that's right next to me is the richest county in America. So
Yeah. In Fairfax County.
Fairfax, Loudoun, yep,
Yo,
Loudoun
Loudon.
County,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
Loudon now.
yeah, Loudoun,
Fairfax got too hood for the people that moved out
Fairfax,
to Loudon.
Fairfax, and then where I'm at, is another rich county too.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
That's dope, man. That's dope. As we start to wrap up,
Sure.
you've worked with so many legends, right? Killah Priest, Nas, Sean Price. On this new album, we've got Chino XL, Copywrite, Paul's One. What artists that you have not had a chance to work with yet, would you want to work with?
It's a great question, man. I always a lot of times the first person that I usually go to when I'm asked this question is Fonte from Little Brother.
That's dope.
I would love to do a whole album with Fonte. Um, Fonte, man, if you ever see this, let's go.
Make it
Like we're,
happen.
Big Pooh is from out same here, same place I'm from, man. Like Fairfax, VA. You know, North Carolina is not far, man.
Yeah,
Let's go. But yeah, I've always wanted to work with Fonte from Little Brother. I've always wanted to work with Ghostface, man. Like as many Wu-Tang guys as I've worked with, I've always wanted to work with Ghost.
yeah,
Um, there's a lot of MCs that I would love to work with that I haven't that I feel like I should have already worked with. You know what I mean? Or
yeah.
like um, I haven't worked with yet. But yeah, I mean, there's a list, man. It's a big list. I could go,
Right.
go
It could be
on
a whole
for.
hour.
I was gonna say. I mean, it may not. It's there's a big list, but I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of R&B and like there's a lot of different types of artists that I'd love to work. I'd love to work with like Beth Gibbons from Portishead or like Sade or like I said, like an Alicia Keys or like a CeeLo Green or
So
like a like a Yaba or a Cleo Soul, you know, like Salt, or you know what I mean? Like there's just there's a lot of dope artists I love to work with, man. Um, and it, like I said, it not always just falls in the hip hop genre. So
Yeah.
yeah, just to give a few.
No, that's good. That's good. That's we'll try to get that message out to Fonte. Like, yo,
Hey, at least
you
at
got
least a
people calling
song.
your name.
At least a song, man. I'll send you some beats. You can just, you know, use it on your next record. I don't need to get paid. You don't need, you know, let's just work,
Yeah,
man. Like,
that's
fuck it.
dope.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
dope.
yeah.
July
Yeah,
19th,
yeah,
Ascension,
man. It's my mom's
available everywhere.
birthday.
Where can people find the new album?
So Bandcamp, like Man Bites Dog Records, Count Fif, KOUNTFIF. So just like we want people to obviously get the physical, the album, you know. Like I've
Yeah,
got this incredible bundle on Bandcamp right now where you get Numero Un, you get Do Android's Dream, and you get Ascension, all for $40.
that's
It's
crazy.
an incredible deal.
That no,
Yeah,
that bundle is the Are You Nuts
it's
bundle,
the
right?
it's the We
We
Must Be Nuts bundle,
must
man.
be
Like,
nuts. Yeah,
yeah, we, because you know, you pay for, you know, 25, 35 to 40 dollars a
for
record
one vinyl,
for one record.
right? You
So
get
it's a really
three.
big deal, man. We're just trying to show the love and get people to really, you know, peep the discography out. So, um, yeah, man, July 19th, we're you know, like I said, I'm gonna continue to probably put singles out streaming, but I'm a really anti-streaming guy. I really,
Yeah,
um, I understand it helps, but then it doesn't always help. You
yeah,
know what I mean? So,
yeah,
um, I put certain songs up. I put certain things out there because I think it makes sense.
yeah.
But as
Yeah,
far as
it's
like a
like
whole body of
you
work,
can't be completely out of the streaming because
no,
then somebody looks for you, they can't find
right,
you.
right,
But to take all your hard work and
right.
just
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, oh, okay, so he's got a lot of singles from a bunch of different albums he's put out that I really like. Maybe I should go listen to his body of work.
yeah,
And then they go and buy the record, or then they go buy. I mean, I don't even care if you buy it digitally.
yeah,
Just go to Bandcamp, support us there because that's where the artist gets the most from. So
that's good.
I think it's important to get it out there that way, man. Like I said, there'll be more singles coming for the album. I really want to put a lot of singles out for this record. So there's going
Every
to be at
song's
least
like
a
a
few.
single.
That's what I'm saying.
Every
Like
song's like a single.
I could put yeah, there's too many that we're like, you know, battling on which one I'm going to release next and which ones I'm going to continue to release. So
Chronos is special.
Chronos is special, man. Yeah,
Chronos
it's a
is
dope
special.
joint. Yeah, I appreciate that, bro. I
Yeah, I mean,
appreciate
that's
that.
an incredibly dope album, but like, I was like, that's why this is number three. I was like,
Yeah, you
that's
know,
this joint right here.
hey man, Pause One, bro, is nice, man. You know, I'm a big fan of that dude. You know, and we've worked with him on you know, with Copywrite and a couple other things, but and he's LA, right?
Yeah.
You know, like, and I love working with artists from the West Coast, man. You know,
Yeah,
I've
Pause
worked with
One is
like Z
real.
Man.
Like you can
He is,
hear the
bro.
authenticity.
He's real, and he's I just like his energy. I like what he does. We're very similar. I feel, you know, like both into craft beer. You know, like
Yeah,
we come from the same cloth of that of even like me being even into the West Coast hip hop, like knowing what I know about West Coast hip hop, like, you know, he's right there with what I fuck with heavy.
yeah,
So
that's
man, you
dope.
know, it was incredible to work with. He was very cordial. It sent me back, you know, a whole song that was incredible, and it just worked out, man. I got my man Jimmy, who's on the West Coast right now. He's from the East Coast, but he's in Jimmy the Grunt. He's a part of a group called the Certain Ones, like Bobby Craves.
Okay.
Um, there's a you know, Surge, Farrell. There's a bunch of dope artists in that collective of crew. So, but Jimmy's my guy, man. I met him through my man Jingle Bells through a group. He was a part of a group called Yak Fu Front. They
Okay.
were the first major hip hop group to come out of North Carolina in the
Wow.
early '90s.
Wow.
So they had a couple of hits, very low key, but like they were signed to Atlantic, I believe. They were managed by Dante Ross,
Wow.
and you know they were, you know, look him up, man. But my man Jingle Bells, he turned me on. My man Jimmy the Grunt, he used to go by an oh god, forgive me, but he used to go by Anon, or it was someone.
Yeah,
But he had a different name, and he was on Grid Street Records. He was out of Boston, working with a lot. He toured with KRS-One. So dude is dope, man. He's got a different style. I really, really, really fuck with him heavy, and we got more work coming as well too.
that's
So
dope. That's
yeah,
dope, my bro. Yo, July 19th
July
on
19th, man.
Man Bites
Ascension.
Dog Bandcamp. Get the We Must Be Nuts bundle.
Yeah, man.
Support physical media. It's a classic album.
Thank
It
you,
is
bro. I
instant
appreciate
classic.
that. Thank you, man.
Instant
I
classic.
I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Kount Fif, it's been an honor. I look forward to running it back sometime in the future. I know you got
Please.
big stuff coming.
Yep. Yeah, man. Let's do it again, bro.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you,
Salute.
brother. Salute. Peace.
Peace.